In 1492, Spain had just finished the Reconquista, a 700-year struggle where Christian kingdoms reclaimed the Iberian Peninsula from Muslim rule. With this victory, Spain became one of the strongest countries in Europe and wanted to explore new lands and expand its power. Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand ruled Spain and were eager to find new trade routes and territories. Meanwhile, in El Puerto de Santa María, a town in southern Spain, a skilled sailor and mapmaker named Juan de la Cosa prepared for a journey that would change history. Not only was de la Cosa the captain of his own ship, but later he created some of the first maps of the Americas. The mission was led by Christopher Columbus, an Italian sailor who believed he could reach Asia more quickly by sailing west. However, he was also driven by a desire for wealth, fame, and the opportunity to spread Christianity to newly discovered lands. That same year, Spain's rulers chose a ship originally called Marigalante, later nicknamed La Galega due to its Galician origins, to lead the expedition. Columbus had spent years trying to convince rulers to fund his voyage, and finally, Spain agreed, appointing him admiral of the 3-ship fleet that would sail into the unknown. Before we begin, we want to mention that everything in this video is based on our in-depth research from trusted sources. We've made every effort to ensure that our facts, from dates and names to key events, are as accurate as possible. However, if you notice any mistakes or have additional insights, please let us know in the comments so we can update our findings. The full name of the ship was La Santa María de la Inmaculada Concepción, meaning Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception. This name reflected Spain's deep Catholic faith. However, most people simply called it the Santa María. The ship was built in Pontevedra, a town in Galicia, around 1460. It was made from oak, used for the hull because of its strength against seawater, and pine for the masts and upper parts because it was lighter. While no original blueprints of the Santa María exist, historians have reconstructed its appearance using Columbus's journals and writings from Bartolomé de las Casas. Although its official name was Santa María, many referred to it as La Galega because of its Galician roots. It was a nau, a large cargo ship, different from the smaller and faster caravels, Niña and Pinta, that made up the rest of Columbus's fleet. The Santa María was small by modern standards, about 36 meters, 117 feet long and 8 meters wide. It weighed around 100 tons and had a 3-meter draft, which meant it could sail near the coast. The ship had 3 masts and used both square sails to move forward and lateen sails for steering. Life on board was rough. Space was tight, and sailors slept in cramped bunks, or even on the deck under the open sky. Food supplies were basic: salted meat, dry biscuits, and sometimes fish. Often food would spoil or become infested with insects. Water was limited and had to be carefully saved. Hygiene was poor, which often led to sickness. The Santa María was slow, traveling at just 5 knots, about 9 kilometers per hour. But it was very stable and could carry a lot of supplies, which made it a good choice for long journeys. It took Columbus and his crew about 5 weeks to cross the Atlantic, from leaving Spain on August 3rd, 1492, to reaching the Bahamas on October 12th, 1492. That long stretch at sea, with no land in sight, tested everyone's patience and courage. To pass the time, sailors would sing songs, tell stories, and talk about sea monsters or distant lands. These activities helped them stay hopeful and entertained during the long voyage. Before setting sail across the Atlantic, the Santa Maria had to be ready, not just with food and supplies, but with people and protection. The ship was armed for defense. It carried bombards, early cannons that fired heavy stone balls. These were useful if pirates or enemies attacked. The crew also had swords, bows, and crossbows for close combat. However, their biggest challenge wasn't battle, it was surviving the vast Atlantic and reaching land. In 1492, navigation was far from easy. Sailors had to rely on simple but critical tools to find their way. Compass showed the direction they were heading. Sand glasses measured time since clocks didn't exist on ships. Quadrants helped measure the position of stars to determine location. Even though these tools seem basic today, they were high-tech for the time and helped Columbus steer his ship with surprising accuracy. Recruiting the right crew was just as important. Many people in Palos de la Frontera, the port where the ships launched, were terrified to join. Some believed they might sail off the edge of the world, while others feared starvation and never returning home. Spain's rulers struggled to find volunteers, and some historical sources suggest they may have even offered freedom to criminals willing to join. Only 4 prisoners accepted, 1 man who had killed someone in a fight, and 3 others who helped him escape. Things changed when Martín Alonso Pinzón, a famous and respected sailor, joined the mission. He brought not only experience but trust. Many skilled sailors agreed to join once they saw he was on board. Thanks to Pinzón's leadership, the Santa Maria ended up with a crew of around 40 men, each one preparing for a journey unlike anything seen before. Sailing across the Atlantic Ocean was not easy. The crew of the Santa Maria faced strong storms, low food supplies, and growing fear. But their biggest challenge came on Christmas Eve in 1492, when the ship hit a reef near Hispaniola, now Haiti, and the Dominican Republic. The Santa Maria was trapped and too damaged to fix. With no space on the other 2 ships, Columbus ordered a fort to be built using wood from the wrecked ship. He named it La Navidad, which means Christmas. He left some men behind and sailed back to Spain. When Columbus returned 11 months later with 17 ships, he found the fort destroyed. The men were missing, likely killed or forced to leave after a fight with the local Taíno people. Even though the Santa Maria was lost, its journey changed history. It was the first well-recorded European ship to cross the Atlantic and return, opening the door for regular travel between Europe and the Americas. But Columbus was not the first European to reach the Americas. Nearly 500 years earlier, Viking explorers like Leif Erikson sailed from Scandinavia to North America and built a small settlement in Canada. But their settlements were short-lived, and they didn't stay connected to Europe. Columbus's voyage, however, started centuries of exploration and colonization. His journey led to new trade routes, land claims, and changed maps of the world. European powers rushed to take control of lands, setting off major changes in global trade. But this new era also brought pain and loss. Native American societies faced invasions, diseases, and destruction. Many cultures disappeared, and millions of indigenous people lost their homes and lives as European empires expanded. The Santa Maria's captain, Juan de la Cosa, continued exploring and making maps after the voyage. His maps helped guide future explorers, but he died in 1510 during a trip to South America. Even after his death, his work shaped exploration for years. The voyage of the Santa Maria changed the world forever. It started new ideas, new connections, and new challenges, effects that still shape our world today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for updates.